Okay. Sorry, we have to get our Zoom up before we start talking, but my name is Denise. I'm a health freedom activist in California, and I'm co-founder of Freedom Angels.
Hi, my name is Heidi, and I'm a co-founder of Freedom Angels as well. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area of California.
Hi, I'm Tara, co-founder of Freedom Angels in the Northern Sierra Nevada mountains of California.
So we always do every day, Monday through Friday, during the lockdowns in California. We will be doing a live at 5 talking about freedom and liberty. If you can please start a watch party or share this video, because of censorship, our videos have been having a very hard time getting to the top of your feed. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things, but something that happened in the news was obviously, an attack again from the Sacramento Bee. They did a piece on a church in Sacramento that has basically told them to get lost, leave us alone. We are adults. We want to congregate. We need to pray. And this is what we're doing. You cannot control us. So Sacramento obviously had to get their paws on it and taint the well again. So now we're going to talk about it. So Heidi, you read the article. If you can, do you have the article with you? So you can read a little excerpt from.
Yeah, and then make sure that I do not forget, Stephanie sent me something to talk about as well. So make sure that I talk about what Stephanie sent as well. But first, we're going to ease into this. So yes, this was in the Sacramento Bee, and it was just posted an hour ago. It's titled 71 Infected with Coronavirus at Sacramento Church. Congregation tells county, leave us alone. So obviously this is very inflammatory heading. Obviously it's a hit piece going straight out because Florida had a major win yesterday, and there's other states that have, we heard Texas churches are exempt there too. But anyways, it's going on to say that churches have now become the epicenter of major outbreaks of coronavirus and have frustrated county officials, saying church leaders are refusing to listen to their demands and to stop fellowship meetings. And then they go to make sure right away to highlight 71 members of the Bethany Slavic Missionary Church near Rancho Cordova, or people associated. Where have we heard persons under investigation before? Ding, 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 CDC. So now we're getting it here too, or people associated with anybody who knows anybody at the Slavic Missionary Church, have been afflicted with the virus. County officials say making this one of the larger outbreak clusters in the country. One parishioner has died, officials said, and the pastor is sick. Then it goes on and on. By the way, is there a lot of feedback right now? Okay.
Yeah.
So I have some essential construction going on at my house right now. That's called my children. They got hammer and nails. I'm going to let you guys talk for a little bit while I go mute and tell them to cease their essential construction.
So we're seeing a huge attack on the churches. And I know, Tara, you listened to Newsom's briefing today, and somebody asked him about churches being essential. And he is absolutely not entertaining the fact that, pastors are saying, no, this is an infringement on what, our constitutional rights. Did you catch what he said?
Yeah, actually he did. He said, what's essential is physical distancing everywhere, full stop. If they refuse, after we apply social pressure, then there will be additional enforcement. Enforcement protocols are bottom up, not top down.
And
that's
there's
his quote.
That social pressure again, that word social pressure, because it is basically telling people you're allowed to publicly shame someone, and you're allowed to send in pictures to your police department because you are doing the responsible thing in society. Where else have we heard that in history? I mean, there was this I forgot what state it was in, but there was a sign on the door that children under the age of 16 could not enter, period, because they'll get people sick. So everybody is on those threads. Good. I don't think kids should be in the grocery store anyway. I'm tired of tripping over them. They're all sick and they spread germs. I mean, this is acceptable now because social pressure
But
wants
actually,
to stay
Newsom
home.
called them vectors of disease. They need to stay out of school today in his press conference. They're vectors of disease, and so need to stay out of school right now.
He said
disease
that?
vectors. Yes. You
Who
know what
wrote
else
that
he said?
speech?
So again, once again, not talking about therapeutics. He on his press conference today. What's he talking about? He's talking about the need to, have capacity for surge in beds, in equipment, in personnel. Now we understand all that, but where is the talk about therapeutics? Where's the talk about staying healthy and how to treat this early to prevent people from getting into a late stage dangerous infection, who might be at risk? And it's very interesting because he says he wakes up to the first thing he looks at and he's living by is the number of, what did he say, of hospitalized coronavirus patients in California and the number of those patients that are in the ICU. Well, guess what, buddy? You are like doing none of them the service they deserve when you're talking about and saying, quote, that the only treatment we have is ventilators. The only thing working is ventilators. That's end stage care for trying to save someone's life at the end of an infection. He's literally not talking about, and we're going to link some of these today, like some of the things, there's a couple of different protocols going, like the natural ones that boost your immunity from like Dr. David Brownstein. He's amazing. This is high dose vitamin C to tolerance. It's vitamin D, vitamin A, and iodine, glucose iodine. And then also what we should be pushing our doctors' offices and pushing back on the governors who aren't allowing this, to have access to hydroxychloroquine, Z-Pak, and zinc sulfate. That mix has been coming with great information out of France, out of New York. This is the stuff that's being buried, and shame on them, because every restriction they're doing is based off of the numbers that they're using, and they're blocking the actual treatment and care for this. It's insane. So that, like, when we talk about resistance, that's where we as people need to be resisting and pushing back, demanding transparency and accountability on why these things aren't being pushed to stay healthy, to treat in different options of treatment at different levels.
Well, they're waiting for a vaccine to come out. I mean, they've already said it multiple times in black and white, a vaccine. They are waiting for a vaccine to come out, and they refuse to talk about what's actually working in hospitals. There's a doctor that's been using this mix, no deaths. Why aren't we talking about that? Why are they hiding it from us? I mean, they want us to be hiding away in our house, which does not help our immune system whatsoever, because we're just in our house and we're not in the environment. And then they want to load us up with a mandatory vaccine in order for our children to go back to school, because they're disease vectors.
And this isn't even like at the hospitals alone. This should be occurring in the doctor's offices. I got to tell you guys, so I did watch a video from Dr. Bronstein today, and he interviewed a patient who had COVID and recovered. This is what happened. This is what treatment looked like. This is what care looked like. He was told he most likely had it, didn't have the test results back. So go into isolation in your home, and your family has to be isolated in their home, and you have to be isolated within your home from your family in a room and in your own room. So there was absolutely no continuity of care from his healthcare provider. There was no checking in on him. They actually told him to take Tylenol for his fever. And that was it. He was on his own in there, trying to deal with it through over-the-counter remedies with ibuprofen or Tylenol. He eventually went to ibuprofen. Oh, this is the interesting thing. The Tylenol wasn't helping. He wasn't getting better. And he said, I know I'm not supposed to be using ibuprofen, but I'm going to try it. And the minute he did, and Dr. Bronstein backed this up, that he's seen this or heard about this, that's when his symptoms really started to tank. that he really started to like get really bad and get scared. Now this whole time he's isolated at home. He's getting no care from his primary care or doctor. They just have they have nothing to offer him because either one, they don't know about hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak and or they don't know about high dose vitamin C and vitamin D and A and iodine. And they're just not relaying it to him. He said his instincts told him, don't go to the ER. If you go to the ER, and you know, this is so true because like we talked about a couple of days ago on here, we're hearing reports that, and we know that the people who are in the ER, or in the hospital, there's no contact, maybe once a day from a nurse or a doctor who's reporting back to the family, one primary family member about their condition. And you don't know what they're being given, what type of treatment they're having. And you know you're not admitted until you're already late stage. So going back to Dr. Bronstein in the video, the minute this guy got on, someone connected him to that protocol, he got on high dose vitamin C to bowel tolerance, vitamin D, vitamin A, and actually he nebulized Lugol's a hydrogen peroxide formula and saline. And within hours, he was turning the corner and recovered. Within days, he was recovered. So it's just, this is the kind of place we need to be pushing back. We have to take our power into our own hands because that is not healthcare. That is not infection management. That is complete injustice to every living human being, that they're left on their own without any care or guidance. And now they're locking down all of society over it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's my rant.
No, it's good. Because I was going to follow up with Stephen Hahn, who's the head of the FDA. Again, this is all becoming politicized. He said, and I quote, this was a quote from him yesterday, "We have not taken a stance on whether doctors should prescribe it or not. We're providing facts and information about the risks and benefits. It is and should be a doctor-patient decision." So again, we are coming here, we're speaking from California. I told you about the crazy stricter restrictions that we got in the Bay Area. And it is because our governor is choosing to politicize this. And I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican, that's not about that. It's that they are politicizing medicine right now. And they are claiming that only the state gets to decide what is approved medicine or a vaccine. They are not making any room for the individual to take responsibility for their health and to have a relationship with the doctor, with their own medical provider. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this is the cliff that we fell over in California last fall. That's what brought the three of us together, was fighting to save the doctor-patient relationship. We have been the canary in the coal mine, telling everybody this is way more than vaccines. Don't get caught up in vaccines. This is a freedom issue about who has the authority to tell you and your family how you are going to take care of your health. That's where we're at, folks. And we've crossed the point of no return in California, and it's happening in other states too. And then the next article that came out today was something saying that the FDA says now there's not enough of these therapeutic drugs, so that's why we can't approve it. Or that's maybe what the SACB or Sacramento media is trying to make you think. So now we're operating from a lack mentality. We don't have enough ventilators. We don't have enough of these therapeutic drugs. But guys, there's other, as Tara was talking about, there's other doctors who have said there are protocols that work. I have lots of friends who bought nebulizers. When they saw this coming, they stocked up on their saline and the hydrogen peroxide and their zinc, and they bought nebulizers. And they're prepared because that's what people who take responsibility for their health, they do. And we're doing things all day long to boost our health, and we've been doing it for years. This isn't like one day we just woke up and said, okay, now we're healthy, magic sprinkle dust, and we're perfect, and we go out and about. No, we've been taking control of our health from the beginning.
We have, and we've been screaming this. When 276 hit, it was not about vaccines because we already lost that fight with 277. When we were telling people, look, it's going to be a state-ran healthcare. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You're not going to have the access to other things unless you're going to have the state telling you that this is going to be okay or not. And we were called conspiracy theorists. We were called crazy. It's about vaccines. It's about for the, you can pass on this illness to other people who are more susceptible. I mean, that's what they're using now to lock us down. You can possibly be asymptomatic and you can get someone else sick. Well, that happens with how many illnesses can you be a carrier and pass it on? So are we always going to just be sitting here waiting for the doctors to tell us what kind of medicine we can and cannot take?
So I believe that is part of the agenda, is to keep us so locked down in fear that we literally cannot operate anymore, and we are waiting for the gold star. We literally are waiting for the gold star. We're waiting for the papers. We will get the app. We will cling to it. And we can't wait for that digital certificate. That is the environment that they are creating, because they're crashing the economy and it's crashing globally. And so what is going to be the savior? The savior is going to be these digital certificates. So your neighbor is now going to feel safe to have the kids play, or to go to church again, or, whatever it is. They're going to want this, because I mean, I've been talking to people, they are literally petrified out of their mind that their family's going to get corona and there's not going to be a ventilator for them. There's not going to be a hospital bed for them. So if people are in that kind of fear, they absolutely are going to willingly take the digital certificate to prove that, yes, I'm safe, I'm clean, I can go about and be a member of society. Absolutely.
It's that fear. It's the same fear with vaccines, the same fear with the measles, when now parents were wanting children to walk around with some kind of "I'm vaccinated" sticker. This is where we're at. We're repeating history. We have to continue to ask people, let me make sure you're clean. Let me make sure that you don't have any illnesses, while, the people here who are passing bills allow for passage of HIV. No big deal.
Yeah, I know. I think that it's so important, because so today on the live press conference that Governor Newsom did in California, he talked a lot about, I said he didn't talk about therapeutics, he talked a lot about testing. He talked about the current PCR testing and how we're going to be going to this new serology testing, all about, testing for antibodies. And which, this is, again, like Heidi said, this is the thing. Everyone's so scared that they're going to be getting so sick, and then there won't be a ventilator for them. Number one, this is the first place you resist. You find out, we'll put links here of what you can do both naturally and with the hydroxychloroquine and Z-Pak zinc sulfate that you can bring to your doctor or hospital. And I say doctor too, because we should be pushing with our primary care entry points, and not even at the hospital level, pushing at them to take it early stages. I mean, they were even talking prophylactically in some countries, but so that is one place to take full control. And it's also a place to push back on the governor, on the public health officials, everyone, on the mayors, and be demanding these therapeutics. It's very much like, do you guys remember that movie, The Dallas Buyers Club, about Matthew McConaughey was in, about AIDS drugs? This is the new Dallas Buyers Club. We want therapeutics. We know what works. This is what we're demanding. And if we have that narrative out, then guess what? The fear tanks. It flattens the fear.
Right, because
that's
right
what
now
happens.
No options. Right now it's either ventilator and those, that vaccine, or we're going to die. I mean, there's no in the middle, that there's other things that can be working, and we should be talking to our doctors, and our doctors should be speaking up. Our doctors should be fighting against this.
And there's two big things about this whole freaking catastrophe that are really powerful. And one of them is that the whole world is now woke to this issue of freedoms and infection and balancing all these different complex pieces. The whole world has one issue right now, and it's this. And we understand this issue. So it's not anymore about, really, the battle is truly on now in the world over this. And Number two is the entire world has been turned on its head like this, like on a dime. So as we move out of this, no one can ever say again that grand and sweeping societal changes can't happen, because we've just proven that they can. So let's take and create the world that we all want and see. Let's talk about all these things we're talking about health and immunity, true health and wellness and liberty. We can do everything and create the world any way we wanted, because we just proven that you can change the entire world in a moment's notice. There's no roadblocks anymore. Like Donald Trump proved, you don't have to be a politician to become president of the United States. We've just proven through this whole thing that we can change this world to be, aligning soul and society and have true health and wellness. So there's some upsides.
So now are you ready
right?
to go to
the power really is in our hands.
No, it
power
is
in our hands.
And this is the balance. This is where we're at right now, guys, because if you're not subscribing to that, then this is what's happening. This is how maddening the world has gotten. This is what Stephanie just sent me. She's like, make sure you guys discuss this. So this is breaking news out of the Philippines. Shoot them dead. The president of the Philippines just said he's ordering the police and military to kill citizens who defy coronavirus lockdown. Do not challenge the government, he warned the nation Wednesday. You will lose. This is where we are, guys.
Yep. I saw that earlier today. And I mean, if people think that it's not going to happen here, you are greatly, greatly mistaken. They have flexed and they have declared war on us. This is, I mean, we've heard it multiple times. We heard it when we were in New Jersey. They declared war on us. And this is their war. They will have their military shooting civilians if we even decide to stand up. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's happening in the Philippines. And people who have too much power abuse that power. So I saw that article this morning. That's terrifying.
It is.
And the interesting thing is, in the United States, I don't know if it will have to get to that point, because I think they've got us so locked down in fear, we are going to turn each other in. Maybe neighbors are going to shoot each other, but I don't necessarily see in the United States that necessarily Trump or whoever's the president is going to start saying shoot them. What I see more is that because we've been so controlled in our brain, it's going to be neighbors turning in on neighbors. It's going to be neighbors with the apps ratting each other out, doing whatever it is. It's neighbor turning against neighbor.
We saw that that family was killed for being Asian. This person was scared that they had coronavirus because they were Asian and killed the family. This is what is happening to society. They don't want children in stores. They don't want children at the park. They want us to obey. And if we don't obey, they're sending pictures to the police department.
Oh, yeah. We know the apps have already been created.
Pressure.
Yep. Social pressure.
And then, so one of the big things on Newsom's press conference today, a reporter actually asked a really great question. She said, can you give me details about this community surveillance testing that you were talking about? What do you intend for it to look like? What exactly is this? And holy smokes, did he do a complete 100% deflection from that question. He literally acted as if she didn't ask that question, that she asked a question about antibody testing. So he went in to say, I've already answered that with regards to PCR testing and serology, and we'll come out with more detailed information in the coming days on exactly what that's going to look like. That should be a huge red flag, like we've been talking about. This surveillance testing and tracking is what it really is these social media apps that use social pressure and social conformity to say, someone's sick, or who's sick, and are you well? Did you get a green check mark or a yellow or a red? Are they safe to be out? Where have your movements been, so that if you don't, you come up having an infection. I'm not even going to just say it's COVID, because we know this will be used for any infection.
Absolutely.
That you and everyone that's been in touch with you will be removed from participating in society while you go through quarantine. And then we all know, as Gates said yesterday again, about the certificates that you're going to be required to show that you're recovered with, you know, antibodies or immunity, or that you have had the vaccine.
Yep. And this is where the 5G comes in. And this is why they really, really do not want the 5G movement and the vaccine, or the health truth, the health freedom movements merging. This is, they have to keep us separate, because in order for this digital certificate to work, the 5G has to be out, that the whole entire world. And that's why you're seeing the mass proliferation. That's why you're seeing the 100,000 sites that just went up in California that were authored by Newsom. That's why you are seeing across the globe, it has to be there, because these digital certificates, they're not going to work for our health safety unless we have the 5G network live around the globe. So that's why we have to come together, guys. It's the big picture.
Yeah, and this is where the movements are now joining together. I have people, you know, messaging me from the 5G movement, like, hey, this is what's going on, sending me pictures from schools, because they know that we have been very involved in our school districts, in our schools, because that's where you go when you have the laws or the policies that were put in place that affected us. I mean, and again, the way that you get involved is RFK Jr. has on his Instagram a quick template that you can send to your superintendent. Get parents together, start getting these out in crowds, start sending out these emails. And if you're in California, CC Children's Health Defense. You can even CC us, so we can, and our email is freedomangels@protonmail.com, so we can see what, you know, the flow of how this is going. But this is how we're going to start resisting this tracking, is getting involved and calling the schools as well.
And we should, one of the things that Newsom said today, when he talked about the restrictions on construction, and someone asked if he was going to do that like New York did in California, he said, no, not yet, but you know, construction as essential versus non-essential. And someone referenced the Bay Area further restriction, and he said, well, that's the county's public health officer's decision. That's in their control to go stricter. So again, that's what we've been saying. This is like AB 262. These county health officers, public health officers, are key. No matter what county you're in, no matter what state you're in, start pushing back and gathering people in your community to reach back out into your neighborhood, your community, and say, we do not want it to look like this. This is how we want it to look like. Let them know. And, you know, the whole thing with 5G, Bobby also put on Instagram, I think yesterday or today, he had a new video up from the guy in Sydney, Australia, who, the telecom exec who used the tank to knock over different structures, you know, 5G and wireless structures a couple of years ago. Well, short of the ones that we can stop now, like we should put up the link for the Keene, New Hampshire community that stopped 5G rollout. But short of that, when dust settles and we come out of this, I mean, we're going to have a call to action, which is literally like, take these things down, take them down. Like, you know, you rolled these out without informed consent, without our input, without our permission, without proof that these things are safe. You know, Children's Health Defense has a lawsuit against the FCC. But when we get out of this and we have more voice, we need to be like, take these down. Stop what you've been doing. Stop putting any more up, and take the ones you've putting up down. That's really going to have to be our stance on this. Take them down.
And financially too, I mean, granted, I don't know what our finances are going to look like when we go back to school, but another way that you hit them financially is by removing your kids from the school. Oh yeah, we should talk about the census since we're talking about money. Can we move into that? Is it all right that I just jumped into that?
Yeah. No, you should. Yeah.
We're at 32 minutes, so we're going to probably go over a teeny bit. Okay, so yes, your child worth money for his butt or in the class, and that's a way we can always break. We can always fight back with our finances. But speaking of finances, that brings up the fact that yesterday, our lovely Senator Richard Pan, he held a town hall via Zoom, and he talked about the census. I think it's highly ironic that he is the co-chair for our state, which is crazy. Hold on.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Sorry, I had some peanut gallery. But anyway, so about the census, I know lots and lots of people have questions about the census. I think a lot of people are also questioning the timing of it all, that it's happening right through this, and that they're also saying like now it has to be all electronic for the first time ever. But basically Pan went on and on to tell us, the people that watched, that the census, we are required by law to participate. It states in the Constitution we must participate. I was literally floored. I wish I would have had a tally for how many times he talked about the Constitution. It really cracked me up. So obviously that's satire for anybody who doesn't know. He's the last person to be talking about the Constitution. But basically he said it comes down to you need to participate because every person is worth $10,000. So from the federal government, we as a state get $10,000 for every person that's counted. And it doesn't matter if you're a US citizen or not. We need every person counted. And then he went in to talk about like the specific demographics that have been changed in the census. I haven't been on, so I'm not able to tell you that. I'm just relaying what he said. But he was targeting specifically Asian Pacific Islanders. And in the past, you know, when you're talking about your ethnicity or your race, you know, it's been really broad. Well, now they've broken it down much, 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 much further so that you can be more specific. And how important this data is and your income. And I love it because my friend Catherine's on here saying, that is a lie. She's talking about the Constitution part of it. I know she is. So meaning that reporting on the census is required by the Constitution. That is, go read your Constitution yourself. I didn't say it. Read it yourself. The Constitution does not talk about a census. But all that to say, he was going on and on about, basically he was shaming everybody into why you need to be accounted for, because you need to have these dollars, especially for education. And then he went so far as to bring up homeschooling. It doesn't matter if you're homeschooling even, the state needs this $10,000 a person. I mean, he just went over and over. I love that he brought up homeschooling. That made me laugh. So he really drove hard on the education. And then the other thing that he got pressed kind of at the end, or felt that he had to talk about, is somebody said, well, how long do we have to complete the census? Because yesterday was Census Day officially. And he said, well, we don't really know because of the coronavirus, it's kind of being extended. So, you know, probably until August, but we really need you guys to do it today. It's so easy. It's this online thing. Just do it today. And then the question came up with, well, what are the ramifications if you don't do it? And he admitted, finally, he said, there are none. There are none. So folks, it's in your hands. You make the decision if you want to participate or not, if you want to halfway participate, whatever. But the whole thing of him saying it's constitutionally required. And I know it's scary because you get those forms and it says by law, by law, by law, by law. Right. But yeah, I know Dana's laughing too. People are laughing because we're people who've actually read the Constitution. So anyways, to answer the Constitution questions, there you go.
He doesn't know that because he's never read it. I mean, this is a guy who there's no way he has not read the Constitution. If he did, he would never try to introduce his bullshit bills that he introduces. But I get a lot of questions about the census and it's so invasive. The questions have changed. Usually it was just how many people in your household. I mean, that's really what they want to know. And this goes into way too many details. And people are saying, well, I have people coming to my door and knocking on it and saying, you know, I'm from the census and I have to write this out. And I'm like, don't answer your door. I mean, I don't answer my door because people are I just don't trust general population. I'm not answering my door, and I'm surely not going to answer my door for someone telling me I have to fill this out and it's my constitutional duty. Guess what? It's your constitutional duty to protect the citizens, and you haven't. So take that one.
Amen.
Exactly. So anyways, I know we're so over our time. I'm sorry. Every day, again, Monday through Friday at 5:00 Pacific Standard Time, we do our lives at 5, and we discuss freedom and liberty and everything that comes with it. We have a YouTube channel finally up and running. If you can please go subscribe. We need 1,000 subscribers in order for us to do interactive lives and be able to answer the questions that you guys have. So this will be up on YouTube shortly. Thank you guys for sharing this live and for starting watch parties. We need to break the censorship. I appreciate the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
And bye, guys.